harder. Right. Morning, everyone. Welcome to November 3rd, 2025, Rotary Club of Ames. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing. We want to keep Linda Doyle in our thoughts and prayers. She passed away here last week. Services will be this Wednesday. You can find all that information on our website on the front page. So is there anyone else we would like to keep in our thoughts and prayers? Let's take a moment and think of the Doyle family. Okay, thank you, everyone. Go ahead and be seated. We do have several guests here with us today we'd like to talk about and introduce. Later, we will have Clayton Mooney's here today. He's a guest of ours as well. We'll be introducing him, our main speaker, here in a bit, but I want to welcome Clayton. Thanks for being here today. And I'll spoiler alert, he did provide the lunch today, so I want to say thank you for that too. It was very good, very good. And as we were talking about, much healthier than I normally eat, so thank you very much for that. We have two past district governors with us today, Steve Dakin and Steve Weinecke. Weinecke, is that right? I got it? Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us today. Appreciate that. And then I'd like to turn it over to Deborah Johnson to introduce some other guests that we have with us today.
Our club is fortunate today to have Gage Haynes here, who is an active member of the Rotaract Club. He's going to be receiving an award soon, and he brought his parents, who just by chance were here this weekend for the football game, Stephanie and Jeff Haynes.
Thank you for being here with us today, and we're going to sing a song for you. Welcome to you from Ames Rotary, Nevada, London, Oregon, Paris, the far-off lands or the USA. We're glad that you are here today. Come back again whenever you're near. Join us and then we'll make it clear. Around the world you'll always be welcome at Rotary. Thank you very much. We also have birthdays and anniversaries to celebrate. Birthdays up there, we've got a few. Happy birthday to everyone on the list there. We'll sing here for you. And then anniversaries, we have November anniversaries. Several of you there too as well. Hopefully you haven't missed that yet. But let's go ahead and do the hybrid version of happy birthday and anniversary. Anniversary to you. Happy birthday and anniversary to you. Happy birthday and anniversary. Happy birthday and anniversary to you. We're getting there. I'm not the best one to lead that either. So thank you, everyone. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. And then membership. We have several members. Park's leading the charge there with 47 years. Park? Yeah. And several on that list. So congratulations, everyone. Thank you for your service and commitment to the Rotary and all that you do. That's a buck in the swear jar. Please silence your phones. I'm just kidding. DG Norland Heineke will be here. Hinkie will be here with us this evening at Della Vidi at, I believe it starts at 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock for a special Rotary Foundation reception. So gentlemen, please join us over there as well. One good speaker. I'm imagining that Steve's probably going to be speaking tonight. So yes, that'll be at Della Vidi at 6 o'clock. It's a closed door event, so it is just a private event. So please stop by. for a couple hours there, it looks like. Yeah. Rotary Cares Committee, we have started this recently here. If anyone is interested in being helping with Rotary Cares, we'd be very appreciative. It's mostly just reaching out to those folks in their time of need, their family, and then also just all the way to just those that might want a little help getting here or a little extra reach out and to say hi. So if you have any interest in that, please email to the Rotary Club of Ames Gmail account. Next meeting. So we are online next week with Matt O'Neill, Farming and Conservation Under the Sun. So join us online there. We'll be back here at the Plex. Karen will be going through the Rotary Foundation update on November 17th. And then the following week, we are off-site instead of an online. We're going to do an off-site at the Boys and Girls Club. They're going to show off their new facility. Please bring your own lunch, or certainly you can have lunch before you come, but that'll be a great time to get together and see what those folks are doing down there. I've been to the facility here recently and got the tour, and it's amazing what they're doing down there. So please join us there. Judge will show us around. Then the following week will be back here at the Plex with Iowa Public Radio. So at this time, I'm going to ask Karen Sevdy to come up, and we've got a special presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jamie. Yes, we do have a special presentation. I'd like to ask Gage to come up, and Deborah. Yes, come up. Jamie, you don't get out of this either. Come here. To honor Gage and his great assistance to resurrect the Rotaract Club at Iowa State University, Deborah Johnson has used her recognition points to bestow a Paul Harris Fellow to Gage. Photos.
Oh, she wants us over here. Nice open for you. There you go. Yep, let's go over here.
Deborah, Mom and Dad, you want to come? Come on up. Deborah's like, no. And just as a reminder, if you need, you have recognition points out there. If you know a person, family member, friend that is worthy of and exhibits Rotary values, talk to me and we can get them a Paul Harris Fellow. Thanks.
Gonna give the mic to Gage for just a minute here or so.
Thank you. I'm all lost for words right now. I wasn't sure what I was coming into today. Kent told me just make sure that you can make it. I did write a little something in preparation for today because I wasn't sure what to expect, and I wrote it in cursive, which I can't really read, but I can write. I learned cursive this year to write letters to my grandmother back home because she's always told me I need to learn cursive, so gotta learn to read it next. But something about Rotary, fourth generation Rotarian in my family, I'm very proud of that. My father's here today, and he's also a Rotarian, my grandfather and my great-grandfather. And Rotary means a lot to me, and has to do with how Rotary runs. And Rotarians are people that they accumulate the currency of life rather than the currency of the economy is what I've always seen. They're chasing a fulfillment I wish more would know. And that fulfillment is what I want to bring to Iowa State and get them started young, to know that what we're chasing after in life is smiles and full bellies and health, and we're not chasing after other things. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and I'll share one story that means a lot to me and in this process of putting the Rotaract Club together, is that it takes a team effort, for sure. I stand here today as someone that might have lit the match, but I didn't start the fire, so to say. The Rotaract Club is made up of a lot of members spanning from all over the world, which I'm very proud of, and how they've gravitated to our club. And there's a story, it's a parable, an African parable, that I learned some years ago, and it's a bunch of young kids who, they're chasing after a fruit basket, and the challenge is to get to the fruit basket first, and whoever gets to it first gets the fruit. And in this parable, the students actually all joined hands and ran together because the name of it, the principle, is called Ubuntu. And Ubuntu means I am because we are. And with that, I'm very grateful because we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Gage. Thank you. Words of encouragement from a young man at Iowa State. Your parents have raised you well. I think there's going to be a lot we'll hear from you in the future. So thank you for getting that started and lighting that match, and for all those at Iowa State that have started to follow you in that direction. So we're proud to be a part of that. Next, we have Clayton Mooney here with Clayton Farms. I'm going to invite up Tammy to go ahead and introduce Clayton here.
Thank you. Well, as Jamie mentioned, Clayton also helped us with lunch today, so it was a perfect time to grab him. When we started talking about it back in August, he said they were doing some what am I looking for? Expansion. I was like, it wasn't reconstruction. Some expansion. And he wasn't sure if he could commit because of the schedule. And I was very pleased when, about a month ago or 3 weeks ago, he said he'd be able to do it. Little did I know the expansion was in San Francisco, not like in Ziering. So it's a pleasure to introduce Clayton Mooney, who is the co-founder and chief farmer of Clayton Farms with a mission of better food for more people. He's an ISU alum who enjoys ultramarathon trail races when he's not farming, though farming probably sets you up for an ultramarathon for hours worked, I'm sure. So if you ever get an email from Clayton, let us help you. Let us, like what you're eating. I want to farm with you. To work with you. So he embraces everything that he's going to talk to us about today. He was also in the first cohort of SciStarter. They're on their 10th cohort now. He has mentored or spoken to every cohort since he graduated from that, and that was with his first company, not this company. So I'm really looking forward to hearing your story, Clayton. So thank you for joining us.
All right, everybody. I'm going to jump in, but if you have questions at any point in time, feel free to interrupt or raise your hand. But very nice to meet you all. I'm Clayton Mooney. I'm co-founder and chief farmer of Clayton Farms. And I want to share my entrepreneurial story with you. And the theme is thinking bigger. So I was born and raised on a small family farm in southeast Iowa, just outside of a small town called Blakesburg. Anyone hear of Blakesburg before? There's usually a couple in each room. All right. So this is a photo from my family farm that's still there today. In 2008, I transferred to Iowa State as a junior in business economics with the plan to go off to law school and become a patent attorney. But I lasted just 2 semesters before I dropped out to pursue an entirely different career path. Any guesses on what that was? Not yet. Poker. So when you think of playing poker professionally, maybe it's going to Las Vegas, playing the World Series of Poker, which I did. And about 10% of my poker career was playing live poker, but the other 90% was actually playing online poker. So I would play about 40 tables of online poker at once, a few thousand hands of poker an hour, a few million hands of poker a year. And this was my first opportunity to really think bigger. I treated poker like a business with multiple revenue streams. And so I raised investment to move up in stakes. I invested in lower stakes players, and then I also coached other players and charged an hourly. So I saw it as a business with 3 revenue streams. So it was a great career until one morning in April of 2011, I woke up to this message. The Department of Justice had seized all online poker accounts and domains because it wasn't regulated in the US. And so at this point in time, I had lost my career, about 90% of my net worth, and I asked myself, now what? So I had a lot of friends who read my poker blogs, and they told me I was good at explaining the mathematics of the game, but I was a terrible storyteller. And they convinced me that storytelling and pitching was everything. Whether you're pitching yourself for a job, you're starting a company and pitching a co-founder, pitching customers, I was pretty intrigued by that. And I decided to return to Iowa State. I switched to an English major with a focus on creative writing. I crammed about 60 credits into a few semesters and said, okay, now it's time to try this corporate America thing. So I ended up in Denver, Colorado at a Fortune 200 company as a marketing and technical writer. I thought most of my days would be spent among the mountains, enjoying views like this. The reality, for about 60 hours a week, was views like this, Cubicle City. And at this point in time, I realized I did not make a good employee. Things moved kind of too slowly for me, and a lot of my ideas, I had to pitch my boss, and then a boss, and then a boss's boss. And I realized it just wasn't my thing. And I also had the next opportunity to think bigger. I started to realize I wanted to take advice from people who are at a place in life that I really wanted to be at. So I gave away and sold everything I had, except for what would fit into a backpack and a suitcase, went back to playing poker, which meant I had to move abroad. I ended up in Dublin, Ireland, on a 1-year holiday visa. I chose Ireland for a couple of reasons, but the main one, poker tax in Ireland, 0%. I ended up having my best year of my poker career ever. So about 1 week out of every month, I would travel the European poker tour stops to another Western European city, and the other 3 weeks mostly playing just right there in Dublin. And I tried to extend my visa to stay beyond the year, and immigration asked me very nicely to leave the country. So as I was getting ready to leave, I had met a lot of poker players turned angel investors in technology companies and technology startups. And they told me that playing poker for a career, there's so much more to life then. And I started to think about that, had another opportunity to realize to think bigger. And I asked myself, maybe there is something beyond just a poker career. So I ended up back in Iowa, specifically here in Ames, and I realized that to me, the best way to learn to start a technology company was maybe to join another early stage technology company. So I started asking around Ames, came across a few food and ag tech companies, but I didn't really feel like I could help with their product or service. But about that time, I came across a group of students on Iowa State campus competing in the Thought for Food Challenge. Anyone hear of Thought for Food before? So it's a global business plan competition. That year was sponsored by Syngenta and Microsoft, and they put out this statistic. And they asked all competitors to build a product or a service that addressed food security and food waste on a global scale. So we sat down as a team, asked ourselves, where do we start? And we quickly realized that most of the team members had a lot of experience traveling and living abroad, especially in developing countries. And in developing countries, food waste is 2/3. And that's because a lot of farmers who are living off of their land, they don't have proper post-harvest techniques in place. So we sat down as a team, started designing and building solar-powered food dehydrators. The picture you see on the left is our very first prototype. Really ugly prototype, but thankfully it worked just as a natural convection food dehydrator. So it turned banana slices into banana chips, mango slices into mango chips. The picture on the right is after we were able to get some in-country field testing with partners through the help of Iowa State University. And ultimately, we turned it into a company. I was co-founder and chief product officer. The company was named Kenosol, and we focused entirely on solar food dehydrators. So we decided to bootstrap the company. We raised no outside investment. We entered a couple hundred business plan and pitch competitions. We won enough funds to help bring our prototypes to commercial scale life, like you see in the photo there. And a couple of years down the road, it had evolved into a food dehydrator that every time sales came through, we didn't have to touch any of the components. And then we had partners who loaded them up on shipping containers and literally shipped them halfway around the world to our partners for distribution. And all of a sudden, I was thinking back, the angel investors who were past poker players were absolutely right. Thinking bigger, building a technology company to make the world a better place had way more impact than I could have ever imagined. And in the first 4 years of building Kenosol, we took it from prototype through commercial launch into over 50 countries worldwide. I primarily spent my time with partners in Eastern Africa, so Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, and then partners in Brazil. And over the years of traveling back and forth nonstop, I kept coming back to this question. I would think about food security literally halfway around the world, but then I'd get back home in central Iowa and still realize there's food insecurity here. And so I ended up leaving the day-to-day and just remained on the board of directors after about 4.5 years of building Kenosol. I posed this question on a blog to a few dozen readers, and I thankfully had a friend from Indian Hills Community College, Danon Poole, who today is Clayton Farms' co-founder and chief technology officer, reach out to me and say, hey, I've got the answer to your question, and it's indoor farming. I said, indoor farming, why? Well, Danon's background is in plant biology and mechanical engineering, and had a lot of really unique insights on indoor farms in general and the industry. And so one of the biggest insights he had was the average indoor farm in the US is 40,000 square feet. That's a pretty big footprint, which means you actually can't grow food that close to consumers. And he also pointed out that a lot of the vertical or indoor farms today wanted robots running the farm, but there is no clear path to profitability yet. And at the end of the day, that meant more parts, and more parts equals more problems. So we decided to start designing and building our own hydroponic growing equipment, both the hardware and the software that runs that equipment. Once again, used my dad's wood shop, the picture on the left, early prototypes. Picture on the right, about a year into testing all different which ways to grow leafy greens, microgreens, and vine crops. And then we realized it was pretty capital intensive. We had hardware, software, and living organisms. And so we decided we were going to raise venture capital. So we struggled at first to raise venture capital from the Midwest, and then we kind of had a breakthrough in Silicon Valley, out in Mountain View, California, and San Francisco. We were accepted to Y Combinator. It's a startup accelerator program treated kind of like a boot camp. And it's a really intense 90 days where every week you focus on one sprint, improving one metric. And at the end of those 90 days, you present to a room full of investors. And so after going through the program, we realized part of our business model was we thought we would want to equip new and expanding indoor farmers with our technology. And so we took our prototypes to manufacturing partners. They were able to help us bring them to commercial scale life, like you see in the photo here. We really take advantage of growing from floor to ceiling. So we've got a bunch of lettuce at various stages in this photo. We established the manufacturing partners, and then we wanted to establish a model farm. So we found space in the Iowa State University Research Park. We built out our entire own indoor farm. We started hosting individuals as close as Des Moines and as far away as Tokyo, Japan, who were prospective customers of ours. Pretty bad timing for us. This is the beginning of 2020. Pandemic hits, no tours. Overnight, we lose all of our revenue. And we ask ourselves, now what? I had been there before, losing a career overnight and a lot of net worth. And so we sat down as a team and said, okay, what is a forcing function? We realized we had 6 days before our next lettuce harvest, and we had no homes for it. So we had to do something to keep the lights on. And so 6 days later, we had pivoted from being just a technology company to becoming the farm ourselves. We launched eatlettuce.com. We put a pin at our location in the research park and drew a 30-mile radius. And then we started advertising on Facebook. And we said, if you live within this radius or you're seeing this ad, we can harvest from our farm and deliver the raw produce directly to your doorstep. You can choose weekly or every other week delivery. And of course, growing indoors, growing year-round, there's 52 weeks of harvest for us. We had no idea if this would work. Very much an experiment, build the parachute on the way down. And thankfully, it started working really well. A few months in, we leaned into letting our customers start voting on the new foods that we actually grew. Whatever received the most votes, we'd introduce as a new menu item. That grew to about a dozen different foods we were growing from that one farm. And then we had a moment to think bigger. We realized it was so much more than a farm. If this works here, it could work in many, many locations. And I like to think that any good company out there ultimately builds a cult-like following. So Apple with the iPhone is probably the best example. For us, we felt like we were building a cult of healthy foodies. And that aligned pretty well with our mission of better food for more people. And so when we started the home delivery subscriptions, the picture here on the left, that's our very first week of deliveries. There were 11 people. We knew about half of them. In the first couple of years, we were able to serve over 30,000 customers or deliveries. We were pretty happy with that. That amounted to about 250,000 homemade meals from greens just grown down the road. And we delivered, again, year-round, so no matter how bad of weather it was, we were out there doing the deliveries. And this came back to, we felt really good with our technology, and we really liked serving the customers locally, but then we thought about, as we expand, is this the best business model for our technology? And about this time, a couple years in with that business model, we came across a statistic that showed there were 100,000 restaurants shutting down in the US in 2023, and that's because post-pandemic, a lot of restaurants with dine-in space never really bounced back. Case in point, Burger King was shutting down 1,000 locations across the US. All of those locations had the play places. No one wanted to take their kids to the germ-infested locations anymore. And so we saw this as an opportunity. So we started searching around Ames. We came across the Burger King on Lincoln Way. The very next day, we found out Dunkin' Donuts was interested in that. But then we came across a Fazoli's Italian restaurant by North Grand Mall. Once again, an experiment, build the parachute on the way down. We negotiated for a lease. We got the keys middle part of February of 2023. And 6 weeks later, we launched Clayton Farm Salads, where we converted the dine-in space to a farm. And all of the harvests happen every day for the base ingredients grown right there on site that go into our menu items of our salads, wraps, and smoothies. And so we really benchmarked this model, this business model, towards our past model. And it took us a couple years to serve 30,000 customers with the home delivery model. Whereas with this model, in just over 2 years, we've served over 200,000 customers. And so far superior, better business model for us. We have now served, since the company started, about 350,000 customers, which we're pretty proud of. And speaking of customers, I think customers are everything. I'm very obsessed with what our customers want. I think Dana and I could agree that we would have shut down many times over by now if we had designed the menu ourselves. Whereas in customers helping us vote on the menu items, that's really kept us thriving and really growing. And so at the end of the day, customers judge, jury, and executioner of everything we do as a business. And back to my roots of playing poker, I'm very data obsessed. I want to make data-driven decisions. And so we've been very fortunate as a technology company to be utilizing artificial intelligence tools for about 5 years now. And one of the tools we use, for instance, understanding what you drive, that tells us a lot about you. So a couple of assumptions we've been able to prove true. If you drive through to visit us in a truck at lunchtime, you're twice as likely to add tri-tip steak to your salad. If you drive through at dinner time in a minivan, you're twice as likely to get double the ticket value with us because you're taking food home to your family. But who here is afraid of artificial intelligence? Few? All right, every few months it seems like it gets more and more respect and embraced, but I think we have a really long way to go. So as an example, every time it rains, our cameras tell us that water puddle in front of our restaurant, there's a 54% chance it's a toilet. So I think we have a really, really long way to go. So now that it's working here in Ames, we think back to really scaling, and we want to live and breathe our mission of better food for more people. And so, Tammy, as you mentioned before I came up, I just got back from San Francisco. We're actually expanding there with more company-owned locations. We've got letters of intent in on 3 locations. We hope that we can get to a signed lease over the next month and then open our first location in San Francisco sometime right around March of next year. But I want to leave you with this. So I'm a giant science fiction nerd, And a mentor of mine asked me what I would be proud to have on my tombstone at the end of life and after having built the full company. And 8 years into building the company now, I still feel like it's very much day one. But I thought about that, and I came back to this realization. So today in the US, the average person loses 5 years off their life from eating fast food or ultra-processed food. I think at one point over the next 10 years, we can have enough locations across the US that 1 in every 10 people living here is a customer of ours. So that's about 40 million people today. I think we can give those 40 million individuals their 5 years of their life back, so 200 million years back to humanity. And I think that'd be pretty cool to have on a tombstone. And I'll leave you with this. This is a QR code that goes to our website. And then my email is up there. We're happy to host tours in the future. Just see at claytonfarms.com. And then wanted to check, is now a good time for questions? Awesome. All right, thank you, everybody. It can be business or poker related.
Hi, Sheldon Spencer, and I was at a organic farmers meeting somewhere along the way, and it was very explosive about the fact that your product is designated as organic or not.
We have not gone through the USDA certification until we get to multiple locations. It's a pretty hefty investment. But yeah, so we don't use pesticides. We start with non-GMO organic seeds. And we start seeds actually from the farm in the restaurant all the way through, fully controlled environment.
Yeah, obviously the farmers that still till the soil and grow organically are incredibly threatened by your product and your efforts. And it was a very intense meeting. I mean, I applaud you for, the goal is to feed people. I mean, however you get it done, hopefully do it in a healthy way. But I just want to point out that it's a tough sled right now.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully, we can all coexist.
What are the hours of your Grand Avenue store and the mechanics of picking up? You stopped the home delivery business, I know, a couple of years ago. Right? Just if I want to buy things up there, tell me how you work through that.
Yes. So we are open Monday through Friday, 11 to 7, and Saturdays and Sundays, 11 to 2. We do still harvest and sell some of our raw produce, but that ends up selling out almost every week. Usually by Thursday or Friday, we're sold out of our extra microgreens and our leafy greens. But 7 days a week open right now. Thank you.
John Huber, have the restaurants and names been pretty good to you? I mean, are you getting good participation there? I hope you are.
For other restaurants for partnering? So most times we don't end up partnering with other restaurants, although we do some collaborative events with chefs. So for instance, Master Chef Samantha Daly, who lives in Des Moines, she's come up to host a cooking class at The Recipe before with us. That was an awesome event. And then Suman Hawk from Hawk Restaurant in East Village in Des Moines, he's been a customer and collaborator of ours for over 5 years now.
Yeah, hi, Glenn Ribke. Just wondered how many crops are you producing at this time, and what seems to be your favorites, or the favorites for the customers?
Yeah, so right now at our North Grand, the farm and restaurant, we're growing 7 different greens. So we've got our red butter lettuce, our red oak leaf lettuce, a crunchy baby romaine lettuce, and then a really peppery arugula, and then 3 microgreens, so micro radish, broccoli sprouts, and pea shoots. At least once a week, we have someone reaching out asking when we're going to start growing strawberries. In the future, we want to grow more and more of the foods that go into our salads, wraps, and smoothies. If I had to guess, we'll probably start shifting focus back to some vine crops in 2026. So starting with cherry tomatoes, and then peppers, and then cucumbers as well.
Carl Byrne, what fraction of your production cost is energy?
Yes, on the energy costs, so we have a lighting partner who we share an investor with. The company is named Thrive Agritech, and they've actually designed and built the lights specifically for us. So all in all, like summertime, peak of the summer and the heat with the AC running, our utility costs total are about $2,000 a month. And that's everything from the farm side to the kitchen side. So LED technologies have come such a long way that our CapEx, our investment we make in the lights, have dropped by about 30% over the last 3 years. And then the energy costs are very similarly dropping. So it's a big win for us as more and more lighting companies jump into the space. But just a couple $1,000s a month in utilities, and that's for everything. As far as fixed costs go, about 25%.
Clayton, Randy Olson here. Thank you very much. This is fascinating. Am I to understand that your only production facility then is on Grand Avenue there at that retail store, or are you producing elsewhere as well?
Nope, you are correct. That is our only production. So it's self-sustaining. Everything that's grown there goes straight into the menu items.
And so the model for your San Francisco locations that you're working on for 2026, they'll be the same model, so effectively replicating that formerly Frizoli's or whatever other location you're moving into, self-sustaining on-site locations elsewhere?
You're spot on. Yes, and the locations we're looking at across San Francisco, there's a big advantage for us. A lot of Starbucks are shutting down, but they're not necessarily in bad locations. And when a Starbucks leaves its location, they leave it in pretty good working order and pretty cleanly. And so 2 of our 3 LOIs are at previous Starbucks locations.
And so 3 new stores in 26. Do you envision other locations across the country, or is San Francisco, a focused target market? Make sure it works there before you think about elsewhere, or what's your plan forward?
Yeah, so we want to be everywhere. We like the idea of 2 locations in San Francisco and then expanding into San Diego and LA. But I've also got my eyes set on Austin, Texas. I think there's a couple of really good opportunities for us to expand there. And then ultimately kind of make a U-shape up into New York City and then move west across the US. Yeah, so mostly tier 1 markets over the next couple of years.
Clayton, Mike Roof. You took advantage of some of the entrepreneurial programming. For the next Clayton Farms 2.0, what things could or should we have in our ecosystem that we don't have that would help other entrepreneurs?
Oh, good question. It's been about a decade since I moved back, and I jumped headfirst into every startup program and resource that were offered. So as mentioned, went through SciStarters, also went through Startup Factory. I have tried to mentor kind of every cohort from there. One of our biggest deciding factors for shifting focus on expansion to San Francisco was Dana and I had to have this pretty intense conversation with where we need the company to be at. Since we've raised venture capital, a lot of our investors expect us to grow 100x over the next few years. And in order to do that, 2 things we felt like were really lacking in the Midwest was the density of capital and then the density of talent. And as an example, since we've been utilizing AI tools for about 5 years now, the only reason why we were able to get access to some of those tools was going through Y Combinator out in California. And so we asked ourselves, where is the bleeding edge of technology and capital? And all signs pointed to San Francisco. About 75% of the capital we've raised have come from there as well. And so I personally started angel investing in technology startups about 4 years ago. I think more angel investing, $10,000, $25,000 checks goes a long way for early stage companies. Especially when you go through a program as good as SciStarters or Startup Factory, you get to the end, there's the demo day. Most times to kind of get to that next level, especially prototypes to manufacturing, if there are more angel investors, I think companies could move faster. As far as the talent side goes, something that it's very weird that I've struggled with over the years is being Iowa nice is really good in some situations, and it's not so good in other situations in business. And something that Silicon Valley does very well that we could use more of is embracing failure, because people move so quickly. Whereas in here, if a company goes under, we should embrace that entrepreneur and help them find their next chapter. But sometimes that's easier said than done.
Any further questions? Anyone? Well, how about a big round of applause for Clayton? Thank you.
Thank you.
Clayton, I'll have a book for you to sign here in a bit so we can give to a 2-year-old on their welfare check. So thank you very much. Very, very inspirational. In fact, I applaud the energy efficiency and the sustainability and the technology that goes into what you're growing locally and across the country now, trying to expand that. So I might catch you later for a few poker tips. I tend to not do very well in that. Gage, back to you. Thank you again for all you're doing at Rotarac and getting Iowa State going with that, and the students that are involved. And I know that's a monumental effort, and appreciate you spearheading that. And Deborah, thank you for giving your points over for that. So with that, let's go ahead and stand, and we'll go through the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And it will be beneficial to all concerned? Steve. And have fun. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.